I've finished placing markers in time with my music, and let me show you what I've done here. I've gone ahead and marked the major big beats in the music, which tend to happen periodically throughout a music track. But I also made less important markers, ones without text, for other beats I found interesting in the soundtrack. I've also noted when the panpipe starts and where it goes to a second phrase, because those may indeed trigger events as well. This might be a good time to have something change in the text. I'm going to preview and go ahead and listen and watch the time marker to see what I've marked out in this track. I might go ahead and mark this one additional phrase in this flute here. That little lilting note. I'm going to go ahead and hold down Option or Alt, press the asterisk key, and type lilt, just to remind myself of what was going on there. Now let's start playing around with the keyframes for our text animation to try to make it line up better with the music. I'm going to drag my window upward a little bit, just so I can see more things at once. Now big downbeats like these donk, donk, donk sounds there tend to be good places for keyframes to start and stop. So as a first step, I kind of like the idea actually that these keyframes line up with that particular beat. But I noticed that my second set of keyframes, when the text stabilizes and finishes its animation, is happening after this beat. So I'm going to line up my current time indicator to this beat and note, grab these keyframes, start to drag them, then add the Shift key to make them snap to my current time indicator. Keyframes will snap to markers as well. I'm going to preview that, 0 on the numeric keypad. Actually, it feels like it's fading out a bit early. What else is happening in this music here? So maybe this last fade of this music will actually be a more appropriate time for the text to fade out. And maybe it'd be nicer to have the text to start its resolve a little bit later when the panpipe's introduced. So let me go ahead and drag those later in time there. And now let's RAM preview that. I actually like that resolution better. The text settles down just as the flute settles down and finishes its little phrase. It's a nice coordination between the two. I also noticed some fun things are happening in the background here with these penguins, like this guy stops and stares at the camera. Let's go ahead and watch this guy come around. He comes around here. There's a little funny head wag there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark here, Option asterisk, head wag. Actually happens for a few frames duration, so I can go ahead and put a duration in if I want to. Enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9 frames duration he was wagging his head. So I'm going to double click this marker to open it and say duration of the head wag was 9 frames. Okay, now I've got a little bar that appears underneath my text there showing the duration of the head wag. And I come to here. That's kind of fun right there where he stops and really pauses to look at that camera. So I'm going to mark that one as stop. And let's see. Oh, there's a fun lunge right there where he kind of sticks his head out. So let's go ahead and select my layer again, Option asterisk, and type lunge. Okay, now let's start sliding around our video and see if we can get it to line up better with our music as well. There's this fun part here where he's stopping. Maybe if I got that to line up with this major beat right here. What happens if I do that? Then a little bit later on, his head lunge is actually timed very nicely with a little lilt in the flute phrase. I see my video track is ending prematurely here. That's no problem. I'll just go ahead and drag it out. And I got lucky here where his little head wag is also happening kind of around where some beats go. So let's just see how this works. I'll RAM preview. I like that a lot. He stops and stares right before the flute starts playing. He then runs off the screen as the flute finishes playing. It's a nice little timing of the video to the music. So you can see why we like to work with music. As a matter of fact, we try to get the music from the client first, even before we start animating, just so we can get these sorts of tight timings and synchronizations between visual events and musical events.